Did you say Wemby? Let's tip off huge Game 5 tonight. Oklahoma City, the Thunder host the Spurs, and FYI, the team that wins Game 5 in a series tied at 2 takes the series 82% of the time. Wemby dominated Game 4. San Antonio held OKC to its worst offensive output in 5 years. The defending champs looking to bounce back in front of their home crowd. We are pleased to welcome in the Hall of Famer, that is Michael Wilbon. Michael, who's under more pressure in Game 5 tonight? Is it Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP, or his supporting cast?
It's always the MVP in this league, Kevin. The later you get in the series, supporting cast, nobody's going to remember what they did beyond, tomorrow. But we're going to remember and talk about and dissect whatever Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does, and he understands that. We know he understands it because he understood it going into Game 2. Having lost Game 1 at home, be big in Game 2 and was. Games 2 and 3. He has not had what you call great playoffs. It's not been a great postseason. But when he's needed to be with his team down in this series, he got him even, he put him ahead, and now it's going to be up to him to put them ahead again. He could get help. He may not. He may have to have a 40-point night. But he's certainly capable of it, and that's the reason he's been the MVP and the reason he's wearing a championship ring.
Okay, let's stay here in the topic of the stars, because in this series, Victor Wembanyama's plus-minus is plus 50 when he's on the court. It's minus 46 when he's off the court. So, Michael, what's the key for Wemby and the Spurs to steal Game 5, another one on the road?
Well, Kevin, as you know, because we were in Madison Square Garden when, the talk was about minutes in that series and who had played too many and who had not played enough. And even there, we were talking about Wemby and how many minutes he played, 49 in Game 1. Does he have the legs to do this? It's his first NBA playoff. And people don't go from lottery to championship round. But Wembanyama seems perfectly capable of leading this, and he's going to have probably a great game on the road against a two-time reigning MVP. He's going to have a great game, and all that means, which he talked about, sort of making teammates better at some point. I don't know that matters as much tonight. His teammates are very capable, but this is going to have to be him. And it may need to be a 35-point, 16 or 17 rebound game on the road. But that's why this series is irresistible, because you've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who just sort of calmly, quietly goes about his work. His superpower, to me, SGA, is his calm. Wembanyama's superpower, we're still trying to identify it, but what he was able to do in a couple of games in this series, he had what we call a mediocre game, and he went 21-17 and 5 block shots. He's going to need more than that, at least scoring most likely tonight. But, I mean, this series is, to me, as good as it has gotten in conference finals basketball in several years.
It's a heavyweight fight, and right now feels like we're in round 8. San Antonio, 4.5-point road underdogs tonight in OKC. Christine, take it away.
Yeah, guys, we know who the Spurs or the Thunder will play in the finals, the Knicks. They ran through the Cavs with a 37-point win last night. That's a sweep and a ticket to their first finals appearance since 1999. New York has won 11 straight games, which makes them the 4th team to enter the NBA Finals on an 11-game win streak or better. The 1989 and 2001 Lakers each won 11 straight, and the 2017 Warriors won 12 straight. All 3 of those teams went to the finals. 2 of them won the whole thing. So, Wilbon, do you think the Knicks' dominance is more about them, or do you think it's the opponents that they face in the East?
It's both. More than one thing is usually true. The Knicks have been great in this time period. The changes they made late in the Atlanta series, Christine, as you know, making Karl Anthony Towns almost out of nowhere a point center. And the assist totals that he's got and the way he's involved, he's more engaged as a playmaker, and then he gets himself more involved scoring. Defensively, he's been terrific. So, look, and Jalen Brunson has been great throughout the whole thing. So I want to give the Knicks that credit. But let's not act like Atlanta and Philadelphia, where you don't know whether Embiid is in or out of the lineup, and a Cleveland team that we're always asking about, why aren't they better? Let's not make that murderer's row that the Knicks have had to go through. So both things can be true. The Knicks have been terrific. 11 straight, no matter who your opponents are in the month of May, is fabulous. But, there's somebody tougher coming that's on deck in the next round, whoever that is.
Yeah, I'm very curious what they look like when they play whoever wins the West. You mentioned Cleveland. Why aren't they better? Let's talk about that. There are a lot of questions in Cleveland after the way they looked in that series. James Harden had another game with more turnovers than made field goals. Cleveland ended the playoffs 8-10, tied for the worst record ever. The team was understandably unhappy after.
I'm sorry for the city of Cleveland for it to be like this in a sweep. Like, that's like, you know what I'm saying? But I told y'all last year, and I'll tell y'all again, we'll be back, and we'll be ready, and we'll be hungry, and we'll be locked in.
You know, obviously they dominated us 4-0, but genuinely I do feel like we are the better team. But you know, series-wise, you know, it didn't show it.
To say the least. So, Wilbon, James Harden, he has a player option for next season. What are your thoughts on if the Cavs are better off with or without him going forward?
It depends what you're judging. And we, as we sit here, Christine, in late May, I'm judging the playoffs. And James Harden has been a truly great regular season player. But we've all chronicled the May and June collapses. And he's not been great. He's not been close to great. Another game last night with more turnovers, I think 6, than baskets, 2. I mean, this goes on and on and on late in the playoffs. So what does Cleveland want? What's their goal? What's their ambition? Is it winning a championship? Because I don't know that this running it back. And by the way, we're told, Shams tells us they're going to bring back the head coach. After that game 1, in which he, Atkinson, was largely responsible for the failure of his team to get a 1-0 lead in the conference finals, and then telling us analytically they're winning these games. You can't have that. How serious is that program? How serious are the Cavaliers? And I really, the only thing I like that I've heard come from Donovan Mitchell, who apologized to the city of Cleveland because they deserve it. And I'm not one to look at Cleveland and say they quit last night. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say that. Let my dear friend Charles Barkley take that, and he did. But they were dispirited, right? They gave up. I'm not going to say they quit. There's a difference to me between quitting and just being beaten into submission. They tapped out, the Cavaliers did. You want to run it back with that? You're going to give James Harden either $42 million because he's got the player option, or you could come up with something team-friendlier, like a 2-year deal for, say, $56 million. I'm going off the top of my head here. But so that gets you less money per year, but does it help what you've got on the court? Is Cleveland putting out there a team that can beat the Knicks, that can beat Indiana when healthy, when Halliburton's healthy, that can beat the Celtics whenever they figure out what the hell they were doing this spring? No. And maybe not even Orlando under some new tutelage. So I don't see you running this back, but I can't figure out anything Cleveland is doing or saying in the last week.
Yeah, I think Wendy this morning talking about trying to lure maybe Giannis out there, get LeBron back out there. We'll see what happens. They have a lot of things to figure out this offseason. Thanks, Wilbon.
Thanks.
All right, let's head to the ice and a potentially shocking